Sir Rapture Studios, a name we've all heard before. A king among the film studios in Hollywood, more stars have been made here than anywhere else. But one of their most successful names of the last decade was only to be found behind the camera. Director and producer Frank Scruples. Mr. Scruples has produced many of the greatest moving pictures ever created in Hollywood, and he will undoubtedly go down in history as one of the best silent film directors the world has ever seen. But last year, Mr. Scruples surprised everyone with the shock announcement that he would be leaving Hollywood forever, which left many of us asking why, at the very peak of his career, did Mr. Scruples choose to retire from film and turn to live theatre? But what's this? Rumors are ripping through Hollywood that Mr. Scruples jumped before he was pushed. The arrival of sound in motion pictures left many a fine actor on the scrap heap. But surely a director as eminent as Mr. Scruples would not fall victim to this fate? However, there is word that Scruples indeed left the world of moving pictures because he was incapable of directing with sound. Mr. Scruples, however, denies the accusations that he does not know how sound is recorded.
I deny the accusations that I do not know how sound is recorded.
We might ask why Mr. Scruples has chosen to make the move to the dying art form that is live theatre after such an illustrious career in filmmaking. But with a man so talented and full of enthusiasm for the arts as Mr. Scruples, the real question on everyone's lips is, what will the Impresario do next?
Mr Scruples, the contract has been signed naming you the world's first moving picture opera director and impresario.
No, I don't believe it. Anyway, it is too late. I have made up my mind to retire to the country and farm.
Mr Scruples, I expected you to be happy.
Happy?
Yes.
When sound was introduced into films, I was compelled to leave my illustrious career as a film director and take on this unenviable position as a theatre impresario, where I'm forced to work with stage performers. Happy? I used to be happy, but when practically overnight all of my ongoing silent films were scrapped and my remaining budget blown on the newfangled recording equipment required for these talkies. My cash, my credit, my enthusiasm, and my patience were exhausted. Then you expect me to be happy? I sought to escape all this by leaving the world of Hollywood for the theatre, where these confounded and impenetrable technologies would no longer torment me. But instead I seem to have exchanged one affliction for another, and find myself working with opera singers. No, I am sick and tired of all the intrigues and jealousies that plague an impresario. I repeat, I am turning farmer.
Don't I know how you feel? I too have known frustration, but if you would just let me sing a few roles, I would gladly shoulder your burdens.
My dear Bluff, we've been through this before. If I were to allow you to sing again, the public would butcher us both. Besides, I have in mind a season of classical drama for the stage, which, God be praised, requires no singers.
Mr Scruples, the studio partners have decreed that their next picture must be an opera in order to best exhibit their cutting-edge sound recording capabilities, and that you, with your expertise in both film and theatre, you must be the one to direct.
Opera, a ridiculous disease which will soon die out.
How can you say such a thing, Mr Scruples?
But opera, even for a motion picture, would require too much extravagant expense.
Oh, not at all. Today, opera can be produced quite economically.
What about all the singers opera requires?
The up-to-date impresario only engages three kinds. Falling stars whose fees have shrunk with their range. Moviegoers will accept anything from a famous name.
I suppose that is one sort.
Then some beginners, whose obvious shortcomings will be to your credit, since you will be giving new talent a patriotic chance. You pay them nothing.
And I suppose the third sort pays me.
Naturally. These are the ones more blessed with the goods of this world than with voice. Or talent.
So the low fees of your fallen stars will be paid for by the rich amateurs. The singers will cost me nothing.
Oh, on the contrary, Mr Scruples, they should bring you a handsome profit.
My dear Bluff, what kind of operas could one mount with singers recruited by such distasteful means?
The very best. Those which require more acting of a singer than quality singing. This, I'm sure, is what people would prefer from a musical film, anyway.
But what about the costumes, the scenery, the lighting, the chorus scenes?
Announce that we are modernising opera for this new medium. To achieve a sense of intimate communication, we eliminate chorus scenes.
I suppose that is one way to shorten a lengthy work.
To highlight the hidden meanings and introspective conflicts, we dispense with scenery and play everything before black drapes.
That eliminates the set designers and the painters.
And most of the gophers. To highlight realism, we play in modern dress, no costumes. And to intensify the atmospheric moods, we will use very little light. This is very desirable for most singers, and will save the studio a pretty penny in electric lighting. What do you say to these ideas, Mr Scruples?
I say they are deeply repugnant to everything that I've always fought for in the arts.
But Mr Scruples, this is film, not theatre. What do the masses, who will be watching opera in a cinema, know about taste?
Seriously suggesting that I should stoop to buying success.
Is there any surer way?
My dear Bluff, you yourself don't believe half of what you say. If you were really the rascal you said, I would urge you to give up your singing, which you should do anyway, and take over my position at once.
Well, thank you, Mr Scruples, but I really am an artist at heart, and I feel I could serve you best as a singer. Oh, you don't agree? Oh, I see you don't.
Oh, cheer up, Bluff. It doesn't make the slightest difference what either of us think. I have not the know-how to record a voice on a wax cylinder, let alone undertake an entire operatic moving picture.
I know things look very dark, Mr Scruples, but there is a potential dawn just outside. Mr Angel has been waiting to see you for the past quarter of an hour.
Mr Angel, that stage-struck haunter of soprano dressing rooms. What does he want?
Well, I can guess. He was at the studio when you were appointed the opera film director, and he came over to see you at once. I'll show him in. Please, Mr Scruples, don't be too hasty.
My dear director, Hollywood is indeed fortunate in its choice of an impresario. I rather envy you, you know.
I don't see why you should.
Oh, well, it happens that I need your help. And if I were you, I could just help myself.
What then can I do for you, Mr. Angel?
Oh, well, quite a lot, Mr Scruples, quite a lot. Between we men of the world and men of business, preliminaries are a waste of time. So, I'll come to the point.
Mr. Scruples, Mr. Angel is coming to the point.
Pray do, Mr. Angel.
You are probably aware that for some time I have maintained a close relationship with one of the opera's brightest stars, Madame Goldentrill.
Me, Madame Goldentrill. Such things are rarely heard anymore. Truly magnificent. I remember hearing her perform in Budapest when I was a boy. She recently retired, I believe.
Yes and no. Confidentially, I had hoped that the amenities with which I have been privileged to provide her would help her forget her singing career. But Madame misses the excitement, and she is determined to make a whole series of farewell performances.
I see. I take it then she would like to appear in this opera film.
Mr. Scruples, it is a pleasure to converse with such a perceptive man.
The truth is, Mr. Angel, that problems of repertoire, her age...
What Mr. Scruples means, Mr. Angel, is that the repertoire in which Madame would naturally wish to appear is beyond the resources of our production.
But it would be worth a great deal to me, $40,000 to be precise. Of course, Madame realises it must be some time since you have seen her perform, so she is prepared to do a screen test for you, and is in fact waiting outside in her car.
I am afraid that...
What Mr. Scruples means, Mr. Angel, is that this room is hardly suitable for Madame Goldentrill's exceptional vocal talent, but if Madame will overlook this inconvenience, he will be happy to hear her and renew a precious friendship.
Are you insane? Never in my life have I accepted money from a singer, and I don't intend to start now.
Please do not be angry, Mr. Scruples. My only desire is for this film to be a success. $40,000 is a hefty contribution to the production, and it will permit you to acquire Madame Goldentrill for the film, which will ensure that distinguished opera fans bring their money to the box office, as well as the usual uncultured cinema goers.
What about my principles, my ideals, my reputation? Oh, let me go to my farm before she...
You will only collide with her on the stairs. No, Mr. Scruples, it is the purpose to which money is put, not its source, that is important. Our church is not built with the offerings of sinners.
Yes, not all sinners are singers.
Naughty, naughty, naughty boy. I know you've been here for at least 6 months, and you never called on me.
Forgive me,
My dear, you must not hold it against our good friend Scruples, who's been incredibly busy arranging all the conflicting details of a brilliant pitch.
Madame, Mr. Scruples has been on the point of paying you a visit, at least 100 times. Why, only this morning he was wondering if it might not be possible to induce you to lend our film some luster.
I'm sure he was. We've always been such friends. Who are you?
Permit me to present my assistant and colleague, Mr Bluff, Madame.
Oh, your assistant and colleague. How nice. Such an intelligent expression. And now, my dear director, I shall sing for you. I want you to hear how my voice has developed in the upper register, without losing one of those dark, lustrous, pear-shaped tones, which my lower range is so famous.
I would not dream of asking an artist of your reputation to audition, Madame.
Nonsense! Are we not all professionals? I insist. Now, make yourselves comfortable, and I promise you will be amazed. My love and I be amazed.
Madame, words fail me.
As usual, you were unapproachable, my dear.
What a voice! What a musician! Oh, what art!
Why, Mr Bluff, I see you are a connoisseur. Now, Mr Scruples, you see what I can do. As my contribution to your success in this moving picture, I am prepared to accept the dramatic lead and be content with a mere pittance, $2,000 a week.
$2,000 a week, Madame, you cannot be serious.
What Mr Scruples means, Madame, is that he can hardly bear to think of money in connection with such art as yours.
Mr Bluff, I see you are a connoisseur. My dear director, the delicacy of your sentiments more than outweighs the modesty of your offer. I should be happy to accept the prima donna assoluta of your distinguished film. You are a shrewd bargainer.
Wonderful. Now, my dear, if you'll just go and wait for me in your car, I shall draw up your contract with Mr Scruples, yes?
I hope you won't be too long. So I shall say au revoir.
Oh, my dear Scruples, what a difference this is going to make in my life.
Oh, and in mine.
Being so understanding that I'm emboldened to ask another favour. It so happens, though for the life of me I can't quite imagine how it came about, that I have a protégé, a young actress who possesses the most remarkable aptitudes. She has appeared in several moving pictures, but has not yet delved into the world of opera.
Do you mean to say that you are associating with two performers at once? I would have thought one would be enough.
Mr Angel, you are a true patron of the arts.
Well, let us put it this way. I am as fascinated by Madame Goldentrill's past as I am by Miss Silverpeel's future.
And they both appear to have a distinct bearing on my immediate present.
My dear Scruples, you are the soul of tactful wit. Now, as you have advanced my position with Madame Goldentrill, you would make me very happy by doing as much for me with Miss Silver.
Why don't you just make a film of your own?
What Mr Scruples means, Mr Angel, is that expenses have a way of leaping right over the moon when an impresario must make provisions for 2 stars in one production.
Of course, you are quite right. I understand this so clearly that I'm prepared to advance a further $60,000.
Advance, Mr Angel?
I mean donate. What could I have been thinking of?
Do I understand you correctly, Mr Angel? You say you are willing to pay $100,000 to secure engagements for these two ladies?
Precisely.
But surely there must be other conditions attached to such an offer.
My dear fellow, you have me all wrong. I only want to help. It is my belief that the common people are entitled to opera, and it is up to generous benefactors like myself to see that they get it.
There, you see, Mr Scruples?
Of course, I shall expect a modest voice in the general production of the film.
There, you see, Mr Bluff?
I've always wanted to be an impresario, and you'll find I have splendid ideas about direction, casting, promotion, costumes, opera in the vernacular.
Oh, well, you clearly know much more than I do, then.
I wouldn't go that far, my dear director, but Miss Silverpeel is currently waiting outside in the car, and if you permit me to go and get her, I would like to bring her up so that you can see for yourself whether I have an eye for talent.
She is sitting next to Madame Goldentrill. Congratulations, you're either a Mormon or else a born impresario.
Don't be silly, my dear chap. They each have their own car, and their own everything else besides. But I shall be right back with Miss Silverpeel.
Well, Mr Scruples, you must admit our prospects are looking considerably brighter. Not only do we have 2 ladies intent on appearing in our film, but we are $100,000 richer.
True, but it only makes my farm seem all the more attractive. The truth is this entire enterprise is becoming less and less like a traditional opera house, and more like a
Gentlemen, here is Miss Silverpeel, and let me assure you that her voice matches her form. Need I say more?
If I may say so, gentlemen, Mr. Angel does not exaggerate, as you can plainly see, and as you shall clearly hear.
What presence! What temperament! Oh, what looks!
And what a refreshing modesty.
Gentlemen, isn't she wonderful?
What eyes! What lips! What...
Mr. Bluff, I shall thank you to contain your enthusiasm to those details which fall within your proper professional province.
Well,
I must confess, Mr. Angel, I was most favourably impressed. Miss Silverpeel, in spite of your lack of previous opera experience, I shall offer you a small role in this film and pay you $250 a week.
$250 a week. I have never been so insulted! I know my worth, and I refuse to be cheated by unscrupulous impresarios. If you want me in your film, you will have to give me the comic lead and $1,000 a week and
let me tell you, young lady, that does not have a...
My dear, let me persuade Mr Scruples to give you, what's it, $1,000 a week and the comic lead, but I'll provide the assistant.
Oh, so you all provide the assistant. Charming. Now I know why I was to wait in the car, why you arranged for this little turnip to get more than was offered to me.
My dear, I was just drawing up your contract with Mr Scruples, and then this young lady came up to audition for a very minor role. Since Mr Scruples values my judgment, he asked me to stay so that I could give my opinion. Isn't that right, Mr Scruples?
If I were to acquire chickens for my farm, I'm sure that would be less irksome.
My dear, I only advanced this young lady's claim so that I could get your fee raised in proportion.
Mr Scruples, do I have to point out to you that this amateur has no experience, no technique, and no method? My method's flexibility explains my versatility. It all requires some soul, breath control. I've had the very best instruction. It may not involve
Artist sculptor dissension, they harm the art they should protect.
Well, Mr Scruples, what do you say to Mr Angel's handling of that, discussion?
Frankly, Bluff, I paid very little attention. The truth is that entire squabble filled me with an overwhelming nostalgia for my peaceful barnyard.
Well, I've settled who is the prima donna of this company. Did you notice my staccato F and my sustained high E flat?
Flat? Yes. I.e. never. I don't know who you are or what you're doing here, but I am the leading comedian of this film. And I'm being paid no less than $1,000 a week.
Well, let me tell you that I am the leading tragedian. And I shall be paid more than you, whatever it is, and whoever you are. I am the Madame Golden
Never heard of her. Obviously, before my time.
Ladies! Why don't we settle this? Get up, man. Why don't we settle this on a business basis? Let's give you both $2,000 a week and star status, and we'll print your names in print larger than both the writers and composers combined, yeah?
larger than all the producers.
Larger than the directors.
Well, that settles it. Up you get, come on. What do you say to my methods, my dear director?
I confess I get a certain type of result. But I wish to make an announcement. I have decided I shall resign my position as impresario of this or any other company, film or theatre.
You're joking!
Not at all. I shall retire to the country, where I shall produce nothing but tranquil pastorals.
No, you mean to desert us?
By no means. I hereby appoint my trusty colleague, Mr Bluff, as my replacement.
Oh, Mr Scruples, thank you for your confidence in me, but all of this has convinced me that I would be happier on the stage than I ever could be in the administrative offices.
I was afraid of that.
So, my first act as impresario is to engage myself as the leading buffo baritone in the new film. My second and final act is to appoint Mr Angel as my successor, effective immediately.
I knew my confidence in you was not mistaken. Bravo!
Well, this is a surprise, to be sure, but cinema presents no real issues to a businessman like myself. Once I've got this production running on a business basis, I should be able to run it handily in my spare time.
Mr Scruples, we are going to miss your broad experience.
Oh, Miss Silverpeel, you are the best proof that experience is superfluous.
What will happen to art and music when men like you are gone? Film and opera need you, Mr Scrooge.
Do not worry about art or music, madame. They have endured for centuries, generally in spite of, rather than because of, individuals. An opera shall have its chance on the silver screen without me, and as on the stage it shall have good and bad impresarios, but quacks cannot destroy medicine any more than false prophets discredit religion. Opera, madam, loses occasional skirmishes, but it invariably wins the battle for survival. And so, my friends, I bid you all a very good day, and wish you all the success you so richly deserve.
My dear colleagues, we will strive to maintain those high standards to which my distinguished yet not immediate predecessor dedicated his life. However, from this moment on, I shall accept no infractions of business-like behaviour. Need I remind you that should I retire, my money will accompany me.
Mr Director, permit me to assure you of my wholehearted cooperation. I will be happy with whatever role you may assign me, and you will find my managerial advice invaluable.
Mr Angel, I agree with Mr Bluff. I'm quite prepared to accept a role as my inexperience in singing may dictate. With full salary and top billing, of course.
Well, I assume that nobody would dream of asking me to sing a minor role. However, I am prepared to limit myself to 2 farewell appearances this year, naturally with $2,000 a week and star status.
It is truly inspiring how putting art on a business basis harmonises the most discordant conflicts.
Let us toast. The impresario, whomever he may be.
Past
Present.
and future.
Down
must serve the composition, and obey its inner call, as an artist hear it all.
Opera's not such an operation. You just make sure your tones are round, and that like mine your methods sound. Bluff is a name destined for fame, and great acclaim. My life will be one long red carpet. You'll never see this bluff bluffing. That was genius and scarcely puffing. My notes may play, though all too few, to persons of good taste like you, that I'll show them a